everybody, we're live. Welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I have with me one of my favorite human beings in the whole wide world. Say hi, Josh.
Hello, everyone, and means a lot to be one of your favorite human beings. I feel
Oh,
the
you
same way.
are. And he's one half of my favorite couples, and his girlfriend is one of my favorite humans as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell everyone how I met you guys, and then we'll let you talk about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So in 2019, I met Tiffany through List Perfectly. She was working for List Perfectly at the time. And when I do giveaways and sign people up, that I have to email Tiffany and talk with her. And I had like a Zoom call with her about doing some giveaways. And so I knew her since 2019. Well, fast forward to 2021. I had known her for 2 years and been working with her. I went to Boss and I met Josh. And he was kind of like fanboy, like, oh my gosh, it's Flippin' Hippos. And he had the camera and he was the photographer for the event. And I just thought he was so adorable. Like, if I could pick a little brother, I'd pick him. You know what I mean? And they said, oh, that's Tiffany's boyfriend. I'm like, no way, that's Tiffany's boyfriend. Well, then she had just had your baby. They have a baby, River. And she was all kinds of mad because all these people she had known for 2 and 3 years, Josh was meeting in person first because she had to stay home.
Yeah.
So that was funny. But then ever since then, like every event I go to, List Perfectly sponsors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really went.
We're both there. Yeah, they sponsor everything.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of, it's been I don't know, I guess more of a focus in this past year. So definitely look forward. Of course, I always plan on being at like the usual events, of course, Boss and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my eyes on. If you have questions, throw them up in the chat. We'll be glad to have answer. I'm trying to read and talk. We'll be glad to Happy Friday you. We'll be glad to answer your questions. But while we wait for some folks to come in and some questions to come in, Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do for LP, and then what you do as a reseller?
Sure, yeah. So, of course, my name is Josh, and my background before LP was videography and stuff like that. So I did a lot of events, not necessarily photography, but I feel like that kind of always comes with the territory of content creation. But a lot of videography stuff for like musicians and, of course, event-based stuff, things of that nature, and kind of. I don't know how far I should go back, but kind of just like to give a story, an overview, and how I even got into List Perfectly in the first place, and kind of went down the road of reselling, and then of course marketing was just so marketing almost always came natural with like working with a lot of artists because they always kind of it's like when you're shooting a video for someone, it's a big event in their world, in their head, and in their community, right? And then that's like the buildup is usually way crazier than the drop. And then they had people would get these videos and be like, but how do I get more people to view it, type of thing. So that's kind of like my entryway into marketing. And of course, I just always happened to be a reseller. Before List Perfectly, I didn't know that this community with all these people even existed. But it just came natural because I feel like I always just knew what eBay was.
Mm-hmm.
And then to an extent, I was familiar with things like Poshmark and Mercari, but eBay was always the one that I kind of grew up on. So, and that's how I would kind of hustle when I needed to get rid of things or if I wanted to make $20. On a couple of different occasions, it even, paid a couple of bills for me. So that's kind of that was like my entryway into reselling before I became more of like I guess a business-minded person more. But I think more than anything, what I try to do is just get education to share with people because that's kind of so when I got into List Perfectly, it was definitely a right place, right time. Sort of thing because they kind of needed people to make content and edit videos. And of course, that was my skill set. And then it just everything, Tiffany had this opportunity, she set it up for me. And of course, I'm so thankful to Claire for even giving me the chance to kind of jump into that world of marketing. And so it was kind of like just this accumulation of right place, right time. taking advantage of my skill set and going all in on what I love, and then, and having that, knowledge of reselling and knowing how to sell at least on a like a base level, um,
Mm-hmm.
make money type of thing. It just all worked out for me, and it led me into content marketing, which is what I do for List Perfectly. And just, easy way to explain things, just come up with different content campaigns. And really what I try to dive in on personally is just the educational value on what I've learned from other sellers through the platform that is List Perfectly. Of course, like at the events, and then everything that we even talked about together, at events, and then even
Yeah.
just like 5 minutes before we started the live, like that's kind of like when it comes to reselling, I want to be that $1 million 6-figure seller for everyone to come and learn. And I want you to get that juice for your platform, of course. But, I go through all of I go through the licks of trying to do it the right way and scale, and going through like that entry level beginner phase, and and I mean, it's crazy what you learn from how people source, to the advantages they have from like the connections they've made,
Mhm.
stuff like that, and of course like the pricing points and how much knowledge actually goes into learning specific things that you're trying to sell. Because in my experience, a lot of people would try to go to, say, when they get into selling, they try to go to a Goodwill and just, buy things that they think might, right?
Okay. Yeah. We're
Yeah,
completely
exactly.
self-taught.
Yeah.
We just bought everything and
Mhm.
brought it home and sorted it into 3 piles. Poop, don't
Mhm.
ever buy that again. Bread and butter, and then,
Exactly. And it
good
just
stuff.
comes with time and experience and not
Yeah.
quitting.
We just
And
bought everything and we made our guides, which was a
yeah,
huge help
exactly.
in self-teaching and learning sell-through
Mhm.
rates.
So yeah, and then
Um,
so just as far as just as far as reselling goes, like I do tend to dive in on doing what I love, what comes natural, which is the cards. But I've always tried to I've flipped everything, video games, like jerseys. I know my last this is a while ago, but like I remember when Washington Redskins changed their name to Washington Football Team, like they're not manufacturing those Redskin jerseys anymore. So, I was able to get a couple of those, and I just knew they would sell. And this is without reseller knowledge, right? So,
mhm.
yeah, just learn. So, coming from that place, and then of course learning from people like you, Star, and that's kind of what I want
I'm
to
like
bring to.
all.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
you're smart. You know a lot.
oh, thank you. It's all self-taught. Keith and I jumped into this. It was like a hobby for him, kind of like you were doing before you said you became serious. We both had jobs outside of the house, and he was just selling off some of his nerd stuff to make money to buy new nerd stuff. So he was tired of certain collectibles.
Hmm.
Wanted to make a couple extra bucks to get new collectibles, and he was kind of just doing his own thing. And then when I got hurt at work, he had started taking it a little bit more serious till he was going to work towards quitting and his job. And I got hurt, and he's like, well, you should take it over. And then I felt bad and guilty. So I worked 12-hour days, 6 days a week for like 2 years. I really worked
Hmm.
hard to make enough money to replace both of our incomes at that point so he could quit his job too, because I felt like I took his baby from him. But yeah, we self-taught ourselves everything. I did want to interject real quick and say that the
Yeah.
thing I do love about List Perfectly the most is that y'all are all resellers.
Hmm.
So List Perfectly isn't just a group of executives and people who don't know reselling from a hole in the ground. Clara and Amanda, the founders, were resellers.
Hmm. Yep. Really
Amanda was a
successful.
reseller, and
Hmm.
when she met Clara, she got Clara into reselling. And Amanda taught herself coding and created List Perfectly because Clara has arthritis and it's hard for her to type. Then that's their story. And then everyone they hire are resellers. Trish is a reseller. Therese is a reseller. Josh and Tiff are resellers. Doug used to work for eBay, but he was a reseller. Dan is a reseller. Uh, Leslie resells. I guess I could just name everybody on the team, but basically everyone that works for List Perfectly has experience selling on eBay. Posh Mark Macari has experience cross posting.
Hmm.
And so they built the company based on actual resellers' knowledge and needs. And I think that's really cool because there's other services out there who we don't like.
Oh, no, I like everyone. I promise it's okay. And to me, of course, I work for List Perfectly. It's such a privilege to be able to represent them, Star. And I think I feel so lucky because, whenever I made that kind of pivot into reselling and kind of learning the ins and outs, I got to start everything from like cross posting. So I've tested myself to see what it would be like without it, just so I can know. And like having to manage all of that inventory on top of, just like I couldn't imagine having to end everything when something
It sucks.
sells. And yeah, like that's and I don't want to have to go. And I understand a lot of people who don't cross list or they don't feel any. I get it, but it's like once you use something, like I don't need a phone, but I've had one my whole life. It's hard to think about existing without one, type of thing.
Well, see, I'm coming from a place where List Perfectly, we had 4,000 active listings.
Yeah. And I hear those stories too. Manually. Yeah.
And then when I met Claire and Amanda in 2019 and I came home, I was like probably the fourth user, maybe the third. That was back when List Perfectly only had Mercari, Poshmark, and eBay, and you still had to do them one by one. It copy pasted. It made it easier.
You just had
but it's not like I can sit down. I was telling Josh before we came on. Last week when Keith was sick, I was having to do both of our jobs. And I sat down on a Tuesday afternoon and built 60 listings in 4 hours and pushed them out on eBay, scheduled them 10 a day for 6 days to cover how long I thought he was probably going to be sick for so that I could do my job the rest of the week. Do you mind if I screen share real quick?
Go ahead.
I already do it.
Please. Yeah, it's your course.
So this is why it's so easy to do 60 very quickly. I should preface this with, if you do the same thing all the time, like I do plush, I do jeans, I know my
it gets business. So easy over time, of course.
I don't have to comp, number one, and I have really good templates. But when I take my pictures, I take them in List Perfectly. Okay. So they're all here. I have 119 in my bank right now. And some have prices. Some are built already. This is never this slow. It's doing it because I'm live. So these are ready to be pushed out, right? But the ones that pictures I just took, this is what they look like. And I take them on my phone and I take them directly in List Perfectly. And you can set your template to a default. So this is my jeans template. Look, you guys, I set myself up for success. I have my measurements here, so I can type them in. Dun, 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 just like that. I have my weight. I have my location for my SKU line. You can remove your backgrounds in bulk while you're filling out your sizes, right? And then all I have to do is really build my title, and it's done. It's done. It's that quick. So you could sit here and do, if you know what you're doing and you're not doing like, I teach batch work. Don't do a mug and then a plush and then a jean. Sit and do all your jeans. Sit and do all your plush. Sit and do all your shoes. And then you can select them, a bunch. And then you tell them you want them to push them out to eBay. I mean, so you can really do fast work. And if you don't want to start in List Perfectly, you don't have to. But like Josh said, once you're used to something, I can tell you that it's worlds, universes, and galaxies and solar systems easier than taking them on your phone and then uploading them to your computer or starting them in eBay on your phone and uploading the pictures. The background remover from List Perfectly is phenomenal. I mean, real quick, and then I'm going to ask Josh some questions, but I want to show you how good it is. Okay. I want to find one of my plushies because I take those. I may not have one. I may be a liar.
Yeah. Someone asked, what's the most plush you've drafted in a day? They heard that 60 number and they got
100.
No, 100 in a day. Wow.
Mhm.
That's amazing. I think it took, like, when I first started, I think it took me, like, a month to get 100 out.
I'm gonna refresh this. When I first started, it used to take me an hour to do 4 pairs of jeans, but I did 100 plushies in one day. I've done 80 remotes in one day.
That's amazing.
And I've done, I think, 75 jeans, and that was a whole day of measuring, photographing, drafting, building the listing, and then pushing it out. But here, I think you can tell from this how good the background remover is. So we don't even have a photo set up anymore. We don't have special lights. This is on a command hook that's stuck to our wall. There's a light switch in the printer. And this is phenomenal. Done.
That's amazing.
Done. And you got to save it, Star. I was about to go out without saving. I think the jeans are probably a good example too, because I like to get myself in the picture. My fat gut here. Sometimes I get some side boob. It takes it all out. The floor is gone. Everything is gone. It looks like I took this on a white background.
I love seeing how you take your pictures too, honestly.
Awful. I wish I had some plushie to show you. I take my plush like sitting up on a table with my TV in the background. So when I go on List Perfectly, you can see my true crime serial killers back here and then like a cute Build-A-Bear, and it just takes it all out. My pictures are awful because List Perfectly's background remover is so phenomenal. I don't have to do lights or a setup anymore. I can have my feet in the picture. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Excuse me, guys. I think I'm getting. I have what Keith had. Not as bad. But yeah. So if you set yourself up for success, if you batch work, if you work in a streamline. Josh is laughing because he's not as focused as I am.
I saw the comment. I'm sorry. I'm so used to like looking at the comments too.
Oh, the side boob.
Yeah.
It's always in there. It's like the scoop and the boob and the feet and the floor.
Yeah.
My pictures are off, but I love it because I don't have to drag out lights and a special background and throw shit on the floor.
Yeah, and even if you do prefer like having that type of setup, like a simple lamp or ring light is that's all I need. I don't think I've ever used a pro lighting setup, but of course I'm not dissing anyone that does or anything.
We used to. I mean, we used to have a whole wall with a photo thing.
And I get it.
It's a metal rod, guys. What's it called?
There's people that still use DSLR cameras, and I think that's like crazy. Not crazy, but just
it's crazy because I can just go on my phone and then everything's on my computer when I go into List Perfectly, and it's so easy. How did you run out of the background remover?
Yeah, I've never ran out. I would love to know.
We do hundreds. We build like bank. We build a bank all the time. We do hundreds of thousands of listings. I've never run out. It's crazy. You must have really been busting your butt.
Yeah, for sure.
Good for you. So Josh, you sell. We talked a little bit about List Perfectly. So your reselling business, you do trading cards. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I think I kind of got into this as a way, to like live out my childhood dreams of walking through the stores and being like, Mom, buy me these cards, and they'd always say no.
I think that's why I do Plush.
Yeah, I can collect them all as an adult, but of course I try to be like, I like to have a reason to do things. Like if I knew I couldn't sell them, I don't know if I would collect as much as I do, because it's an investment. For me, like when I started out, when I first was selling cards, I would kind of do like the rips and card chase. So like, if I wanted a certain Pikachu card from a drop that just happened, you'd probably spend like maybe I've spent up to $300 chasing like a Charizard card.
We used to play Magic, so I get the money suck.
Yeah. And when you hit it's amazing, like, of course, but then you even still gotta go through a process of, "Do I wanna get this graded?" And that's, of course, extra money, and then is it gonna be worth the sell once it is graded? And then but then you kind of have to think about the future, like, there could always be a redrop on that set, like a reprint,
Mhm.
or there could just be, like, an abundance of PSA 10s on one card, right? Which is gonna decrease the value a little bit. But, like, that's how I started. That was the learning process for me because I just wanted to, like, sell things, and, so I of course, I did the cards, and then but over time, I've kind of, streamlined that approach, to give myself a more investor mindset. If I was gonna be spending money to learn how to do reselling, of course, I wanna get the most out of it sort of thing, and, so I kind
So,
of
what do you collect personally? I have to know.
So well, personally, I do like a lot of sports cards too.
Okay.
Um,
A
so
sports
just
ball.
yeah, yeah. So of course, football, basketball, and I even started doing MMA cards because I think that as
Mhm.
a sport is going to go so much further, and it'll be equivalent to what the football cards and everything are now. And that's kind of another thing too. So when trying to find the best way to scale like a business doing this type of thing, I learned that it was a better market to go over and do sports cards because it was for me easier to follow and I knew a lot of the players already. So it kind of took out a lot of the research aspect of me. And then I found success, whenever I would invest in something for say $40, and this is a one-off item. So not chasing packs or anything like that. It's just me knowing what I'm looking for
Mhm.
and then buying it, and of course, selling it for $200. Of course, a month later, it does take some time, but like for me, as someone who's newer and wants to make that money now, it was worth it to kind of get into it that way.
Um, is there money in the nerd cards?
The nerd card? Are you
It's like
what?
Pokemon, Star Wars.
Yes, yes, of course. I just think it's a lot harder to follow Pokemon if you don't already, because I try to focus on just telling resellers like straight to the point how it is, and for most resellers, it's probably not a good idea to like invest on Pokemon stuff as part of your business when it's not going to be the best for your business. So I try to give like a more broad approach. If you're garage selling and you see them, you should buy them because for most of the time, people are just trying to get rid of them.
Yeah. And
So
guys, don't be afraid to offer, like, if they have a box or a book of Pokemon cards, kind of guesstimate how many are in there and offer them like 50 cents a card. So if you think there's
mhm.
200, offer them $100. Most
And if
people won't
it,
give them to you.
yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised for like 20 or $40, what you could get. And then there's usually cards in there, that would probably go for 20 by itself. Sometimes, not
Yeah.
always, but just
Well,
from
see,
from that perspective of your audience. That's how
Keith
I
was an
would.
avid Pokemon player when he was young. He's 11 years younger than me, guys.
Mhm.
So, um, but I played it with my little brother, and then he played it, and so we know, and we have some in the garage that we're kind of hanging on to. We don't play anymore, and we have Yu-Gi-Oh as well too. We don't play
Yeah,
anymore,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
but they're there. So if an emergency ever happened and we needed money fast, we have a fortune. Don't come rob us. I believe in the Second Amendment. Um, and then we did get rid of all of our magic cards, and we kick ourselves in the butt all the time because when we got out of magic, we just kind of sold off our collection. We weren't resellers. We didn't really know about eBay. And
You
now I'm
probably
looking,
sold off a lot of goods. By the way, for anyone who's wondering, because I know you asked if there's any money in the nerd cards, Magic is the most lucrative.
yes,
Yeah,
it is. I had a Black Lotus.
I'm not even familiar. I know all about
Okay, we're gonna
Magic,
look it up
yeah,
together, guys, so you guys can
but
see.
please show me the Black Lotus. Oh, and I do like anime cards too. There's a lot of money in like Demon Slayer, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, stuff like that.
Oh, and the World of Warcraft has cards too.
Yeah, see, and I didn't know that, but I'm sure there's a market for it. And see, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier with jeans cards is kind
There
of
you
the same
go.
way.
We got turds that are racing to
Wow.
the bottom
$1
here.
million or
That's
best
so
offer?
much, but it's worth about. I mean, if it's in mint condition and it's the first print, it's probably worth a couple thousand.
Yeah. Yeah, graded even, PSA
Yeah.
10.
I had that, and then I had they had a set called the Unglued set, and they were all like goofy and silly. Do you know what I'm talking about? They were meant to be making fun of themselves and other nerd stuff. But if you put all the cards together, each one had like a sentence at the bottom and it told a whole story. I had the whole set. I'm just kicking myself. But I mean, we all do that.
Yeah, you didn't know. Yeah, I did that too when I was young. Because when I was younger, I had the originals and I just like traded them off for
Yeah, and
lesser
we think
cards.
about like other stuff we had. Like if Keith had all his Ninja Turtles from when he was a kid, we'd be so rich. And if I had like all my original Barbie dolls, you know, but when you're kids and you get rid of your stuff, and even when we got out of Magic, I mean, that was probably 12 years ago. So, I mean, maybe even longer. Magic got to be to where we were going to go broke faster than a drug addict.
Yeah, I feel like that's how most cards are. If you're not like, if you don't know what you're doing and you're just, it's addicting. It really is.
We played in, why am I having a brain fart? What do you call that? When a bunch of nerds get together and play Magic? Tournaments.
Yeah.
We played in tournaments. So you had to have like the most up-to-date deck, and then you play against someone who had something, and you're like, oh man, they beat me like that quick. So then you would figure out how to beat them, but you'd have to go buy more cards.
Yeah. And so for anyone who's wondering why something like Magic is so big, it's because as a gaming community, there's a massive amount of players. And then obviously, and they're very serious, and it's obviously been around a long time. So that's your market right there. And if you have like, even in newer packs, you don't necessarily have to chase, because if you're getting newer packs, like people are just wanting to buy certain cards and they're willing to pay up for it usually.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like most, I don't just want to say nerds, because people who like sports aren't really nerds, but most people who like something a lot are willing to pay for it. We won't discuss how much money I've paid for a first edition Stephen King.
Oh my god!
There's a whole
I
shelf.
believe it. Yeah, I know.
Right?
I know you're reading. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's people who buy season tickets to Disney World or season tickets to see the Steelers, or people typically will save up even if they have to pay for things that they like, and that includes things that are collectible. And I mean, just even plush. Like I sold a World of Warcraft plush once for like $100. It was from the Blizzard Con. So it was like, oh, you could only get it if you went to BlizzCon, and somebody wanted it and they paid a lot of money for it. So don't think that the economy's bad right now and everybody's poor and everybody's broke and nobody has discretionary funds. But people will find discretionary funds for things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I wanted to say right as you started. I'm like, yes, you can say bad economy, but one thing to remember, resellers, is that a lot of the best and most thriving businesses have come from bad economies, and people will always find a way to get what they love. And I'm the same way. I might not get my lattes every day, but I'm gonna buy that thing I really want for me. Yeah, I'm gonna spend money on it. So.
Yeah, I'll give up, like, if I had to, I would give up all my streaming services if it meant keeping my book, my Kindle.
Yeah. Or even like just certain streaming service. You might get rid of your streaming services, but be like, I really love this show. I'm gonna pay for this.
Yes. Like I just repaid for HBO to rewatch True Blood because I'm rereading the books now.
I know. They're doing a Black Friday deal. HBO Max. I need to get it.
Speaking of, let me just tell you, for $20, I just got Peacock for a full year.
Wow. Yeah, The Office, right? That's where The Office is.
That's where The Office is. I wanted to tell you because Tiffany loves The Office.
Yeah.
But it has so much true crime. Like we got Peacock accidentally, so we were going to go to the theater to see Five Nights at Freddy's. But then Peacock said they had it for streaming, and we're hermits. We don't really like to go out. So we're like, well, we would rather stay in and stream it anyway. So that's what we did for our Halloween. We ordered pizza. We watched Five Nights at Freddy's. I paid the $6 for Peacock, and then I canceled it right away. And I'm like, well, let me get my whole month's worth. I haven't even touched the surface of the true crime, and I stream true crime 8 hours a day while I'm in my office, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, for $20, I can get a full year, and it's got the Continental on there, which is the offshoot of John Wick.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. I just watched the latest one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did, but I'm thinking about getting HBO because they have Friends.
Yeah, I wanted to watch the new Rick and Morty, and so they have it on there. So
And they always have the new South Parks.
Yeah, they do. Exactly.
But yeah, that's just a prime example. Like, I wanted to see Five Nights at Freddy's, so I got a whole streaming service just to watch one movie. And I like true crime. I'll pay for that. Right. I'll pay for my Stephen King books. I'll pay for my Kindle. And then there's some people that'll pay a lot of money for a car. This comes up on my live show and my channel all the time. Mm-hmm. Whatever you spend your money on, you're not wrong, as long as, like, don't take food out of your kids' mouths. But
yeah, don't put yourself at a disadvantage in life.
Yeah, don't like, oh, my dog can just lay there and die and not go to the vet because I want a Starbucks. Don't do anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is that everyone is different and everyone has different personalities. I would never spend money on football, right? But that doesn't mean if you like football and you go buy a jersey and go to the game that you're wrong. You just like different things.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, exactly. And regardless of recession, go look at a football game and see that there's still a stadium full of people who just love the sport. Yes. And that's going back to like reselling and, what I've even learned in my experience is that people who are like fans of a certain player or a certain team will literally not care to, like, there's people who won't look at the price. They'll Google what they're looking for, and whatever comes up in their little SEO search, they'll buy it. And I've seen it firsthand. OKC Thunder fan, basketball team. They bought a couple of cards I had. Yeah, and they paid top money for it because that was literally one of those things where I just listed it and forgot about it. But they paid top money for it, and there were cheaper options. And I know that
everyone talked about Q4, right? Q4 is good. Q4 is great. Mm-hmm. I think Q1's better because right after Christmas, everybody's got in their hot little hands the money they got from their family members. And then in between January and April, everybody's getting their tax returns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when people get listen, not everyone is responsible with their money. Not everyone is fiscally responsible and out of debt and follows Dave Ramsey. Not everybody is a star. I understand that. And people are irresponsible. They will get their tax return and immediately want to spend that on themselves.
Gosh, I was literally looking for an iPhone upgrade. So
yeah, I mean, but so I think Q4 is wonderful, but I've always thought Q1 was really good because right after Christmas, everybody that got money from their family, they're like, well, I've always wanted a pair of Judy Blue jeans, not Judy Blume, that's an author. Judy Blue jeans, but they're $60. But oh, hey, my grandma gave me $60, so now I can justify buying these jeans. Or the nerd that always wanted the Black Lotus magic card, or the nerd that always wanted a video game, or the sports guy that always wanted a jersey. You can justify spending money on yourself when it's not your money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people will. And then when they get their tax returns, they're shopping.
That's like their big buy for the year.
Yeah. But back to like how you spend your money and just being different. That kind of ties into how you run your business too. And I think Josh, you recorded me at eBay Open talking about this. Mm-hmm. But everyone's needs and wants and desires and bills and family, everybody's stuff looks different. So the amount of money that you need to upkeep the lifestyle that you have and want to have is going to be different than everybody else. So don't try to keep up with the Jones. Don't try to be, you can learn from other resellers. Just don't try to emulate them so much that you're trying to do the same business as the guy down the street that's completely happy living in the cabin and being a minimalist.
No, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of resellers too kind of get stuck on trying to achieve a certain number. right? And when they don't, it kind of takes away from building something when you're really just focused on saying things really like, I want to be a 6-figure seller. Who doesn't? But if I knew, so back in like 2012 or 13, whatever, I was working at Starbucks and I could make 10 grand on the side doing reselling part-time. Like, to me, I know I could be happy with that even now. So
Yeah.
like, I
I
think
can
that's
tell you
kind of,
right now, 6 figures is not fun.
no. And I got some stories for that
It takes a
too.
lot of
Yeah.
burnout, and we have seriously backed off a lot in like the last year because we were making that. We weren't spending. We're minimalistic people. It was all going in the bank, which is nice. We weren't spending it, and it just took a lot of more work than we're willing to give, I guess, because we're at a point now where our free time is more valuable to us than money we don't need. So, just to throw numbers out there, let's say you're a minimalistic person and you need 60 grand a year and you make 120. Well, you're just banking the other, and that's nice. But what if you could cut your work time in half, make less money, but have time to spend the money you have and enjoy life?
Right. Or even just streamlining your productivity, like working on yourself. And then maybe you love that grind, but for this like 20% of, getting that, taking 20% out of what you would put into your business to focus on yourself. I mean, you could see positive results from that and really realize that you don't even need to, because I've even heard
But
from
if you want to
people.
make 6 figures, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Like, I think it's a good goal. I just
Whether
think
you're like
people
want to live in a camper in the backyard or want to live in a mansion, I don't see anything wrong with anybody's
It was
way of
just going
life.
back to your lifestyle comment, because like I think if you think about more what makes you happy in your lifestyle and how you can apply that to reselling, I think it's just going to be a whole lot better for you in the end if it's something that you really want to do for a living.
Yes, and like, okay, I actually have a video coming out tomorrow. It's already set up to be pushed out tomorrow. But it's basically about how to avoid burnout. And in that video, I talk extensively. I used to be a part of the burnout culture when I worked in the healthcare field. I worked 100 plus hours a week. And I was always tired and grouchy and miserable. And I never had time to spend all the money I was making. I never had time to enjoy life. And when I first got hurt and came into eBay, I brought that burnout with me. And I listened to all the YouTubers who are out there telling you have to work 20 hours a day and grind all the time, and burnt myself out on this too. And I burnt myself out on YouTube. I burnt myself out on everything. And then I was just finally like, man, this has got to stop, because the whole point of working from home is so I can walk across the hall for my commute, and I can take an hour off in the middle of the day to go for a walk, and I can take an hour lunch and read a book.
Right. And honestly, those are obviously some of the
benefits
of even my job. Like, I have to like get dressed to feel like I'm productive, like to get going. But aside from that, like you said, I can go take a walk, a 15-minute walk, and that's how I get creative energy and all of that inspired. And so, yeah, I mean, like, that's important. And
yeah, we try to walk once a day together, and that's our business meeting time. That's when we talk about what can we improve, what can we do better.
And that's not normalized in the corporate world, of course.
No, not at all. But I'm just at a point now where I guess I'm getting old, but it's like my free time means so much more to me, because if I died next week, I would rather die saying I read all the books I ever wanted to read than saying I worked 16-hour days at my eBay store.
Well, let's say someone does want to embrace the grind culture. They're 20, no kids, I don't know, young. What would you say, like, what would it take to get to that level in your experience?
Well, you got to figure out what you're selling first. So you got to figure out your average sale price and then your average profit per piece. And that's going to look different too, because like I get 99-cent clothes. So I can profit $10 on a pair of Walmart jeans.
Mm-hmm.
And I do, guys. I sell
When
Walmart.
how long? So with that one tip, how long did it even take you to gain that knowledge?
A couple of days. Keith's good at math. So
Yeah.
when I first realized I couldn't work outside of the house, we sat down and said, this is what you have to make. And this is what you could profit. This is how many pieces you have to sell a day. This is how many you would have to list a day to do that. So it's math, but you have to figure out for yourself because everyone's cost of goods is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you're average, let's do a calculator. I'm not good at math. Keith is the math guy. But let's say you're average. You want to make that a year, right? And there's 365 days a year. So you would have to make $273 a day. If your average profit's $10, you have to sell 27 things. If your average profit is $20, you would have to sell 14 things. Mm-hmm. So to sell, the sell-through rate right now is off, and I think it's the economy, but we always did a 0.5% on clothes, which is good, a 1% on electronics, and then 0.25 on Plush, except in Q4 it goes up to like almost 1. So if we had 1,000 listings, we always sold 10 a day. But now with the economy, we're selling like half of that. Mm-hmm. So with 2,000 listings, we're selling 10 a day. Mm-hmm. I think that'll right itself, because I mean, from 17 until recently, it was always, 0.5. But it depends on what you sell. If you sell video games and you have 1,000 listings, you're probably going to sell 20 a day.
Yeah, and so, right, and then your listing health matters. How much effort and energy you put into your listing, and of course, list perfectly. We're all about saving time, but even just beyond that, like the amount of people
selling 10 or 20 things a day, right?
Yeah, then like, and that's like even just trying to think about that, like how much money goes into. Like, and I think a lot of people are scared to lose as well. And I know how that could feel. I couldn't imagine feeling that at scale, like buying $1,000 worth of jeans that aren't really going to sell at the price you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of bulk buys. I buy a lot of like the thread up denim rescue boxes.
Oh, really?
The last one I bought had a pair of a Gold Days and a pair of Mothers, and those are both like $100 jeans.
Wow.
But then sometimes I get a box of Walmart, but I can still sell those for 20 and 25. So if you're paying $50 a box and you're getting, it's 50 pounds. So it's like around 25 pairs, give or take. Even if you can only profit $8 on that, I have to math. Hold on. You're still going to make $200 on the box. So you're still profiting $50, even if you get all poopy brands.
Well, I wouldn't have even thought to
utilize.
It's a risk. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just bought 150 pounds from them at the end of October because they had a coupon code, pumpkin, and you got 15% off. I still have 3 boxes downstairs I have never even touched. You see these 3 boxes back here?
Yeah.
That's all Plush I've never opened.
Wow.
We don't have to leave the house till spring. We did that by design. We don't cold here.
Oh, so you're not even worried about sourcing right now?
No, I actually turned someone away.
Wow.
So towards the end of fall, we usually overbuy. We stuff our garage, we stuff my office, and then we can just source till the spring because it gets really cold and icy and snowy here, and we don't like to go out sourcing. Excuse me. So someone had reached out to me because they know I do buyouts. I buy people out all the time, and I'm like, I can't. I just don't physically have the room right now. I just can't. But I keep buying stuff. But I don't even know what my point was. So and that's another video that's coming out. See, we keep talking about things that are on my mind already.
No, that's okay.
But tomorrow is my video on avoiding burnout and how to take care of yourself, so that you're balancing. Because you have to find the perfect balance. And then Monday, I have a video coming out on just ideas on how to do bulk buys and wholesale lots and how to source in the winter if you live up north and stuff like that. So you guys stay tuned. There'll be more information.
Yeah. That's a lot of education. That's a lot of free education. And honestly, even just to be a part of a community and kind of like just having that, that kind of knowledge and, flipping hippos as someone who's in your corner, as a reseller. Because I know a lot of resellers just like to hang out and listen I do the same thing, but no, yeah.
Speaking of communities, one of the best ones is List Perfectly's community.
Yeah, their community is amazing, very supportive, and I don't know if I said that earlier, but like we try, like at least I know I do. I try to be inclusive to everyone who just wants to learn about reselling. You don't have to be a cross lister or anything like that. I mean, I would say that List Perfectly is even just a great inventory management tool, but don't feel like you have to like be a member or something to kind of be a part of the community, because what we try to offer is knowledge for everyone, no matter what.
In the Facebook group, there's people that don't even use List Perfectly.
And they just go in there to learn. And I've seen those people as well. So, because they're in all types of different groups.
It's a very inclusive community. And Amanda's kind of shy, but she participates sometimes. But Claire is very active. And it's one of the few communities I've seen based around business where one of the original founders and CEOs comes in and talks to everybody, whether it's someone, who jumped on in the beginning in 2019 like me, or someone who just showed up in the group yesterday. She talks to you like she's known you forever and she's your friend. She's so cool. I love Clara.
And always willing to kind of like help and give you that one-on-one time for whatever questions you might have. And this is within, of course, their Facebook community.
Yes. And they have, if you use List Perfectly, if you don't, you should sign up and you can get 30% off using Flippin' Hippos, by the way. But you get this listing party, right? This is all part of the List Perfectly community. So these are Zoom calls. So you do have to have a List Perfectly account and you have to have Zoom. And these are the parties that they have. And so this one is about sourcing your own estate if you're retired. I have a true crime and list later on today. We have content creation for all levels. So this will teach you about, probably need to go to that one. If you host a listing party, and anyone can host, all you have to do is sign up if you have an idea, and you can be teaching something to the community, or you can just be doing something fun like my true crime one. We literally sit around and talk about serial killers while we work. But if you host one, you get entered into the drawing, and I actually won last week.
Oh, really?
Wow. I won, so I get a whole free month of List Perfectly. Yeah. Where I don't have to pay my bill in December.
Nice.
They have a mastermind every morning where they talk about their goals and their plans every day with Pat.
There's Clara right there.
Customer support. There's Clara doing reseller motivation. Samantha is wonderful. If you guys saw my live show last week, I had all three of the girls from Consignment Chats on. But I mean, just look at, there they are, the Consignment Chat girls. Trish. I mean, there's just so much information. Hey, there's Tiffany.
Yes, she does the referrals.
Yep, and I do a crafting party. I co-host with my friend
Don. I haven't talked to him in a while.
He's coming on the show next week.
Awesome, I'll tune in.
So, but yeah, there's just like this whole community, and you can go just look and pick and choose. Oh, I want to learn about content creation. They had one on teaching you how to make thumbnails in Canva.
Right.
I just want to go hang out and knit while I talk to people, It's a great community.
And like, don't feel like you have to jump on and like be on camera and stuff. You can totally just stay off and listen. It's really not, it's not meant to make people uncomfortable. So if you just want to see what it's about, like even a simple plan, you can go and get all of that access. And what since you brought up Don, like you meet people like Don who has, all right, he's a freaking crazy cool, like good seller, tons of knowledge. Like I've learned so much from just sitting back and listening to him.
Keep talking.
Oh, wow, the pressure's on. But no, yeah, so you meet, so that's kind of like the networking aspect of things. And these people, you know, they're always excited to talk to new people and answer your questions.
And you make lifelong friends like Don, who make this for you.
That's amazing.
This is one of those diamond dot paintings. This is what I do at the crafting party. Don made this and brought it to camp, the in-person List Perfectly event.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit the frame. I bought it. I have to cut this off, I think, and I'm afraid to, so I haven't hung it up yet. But everyone knows I love hamsters. And purple. Cute. And she's in a pair of jeans because I love jeans. It was very thoughtful of him. A lot of thought went into that.
No, yeah. Don's really amazing. So please, and there's plenty more Dons. You know, everyone's different. There's different types of personalities. And I'm in there time to time. I don't know what, you know, you guys want to talk to me about, but I'm always
trading cards.
Yeah, trading cards for sure. And everything that I know, try to get more resellers involved in that type of thing, because you can get them easily at most. Like a lot of yard sales will have trading cards. Like it almost never fails.
Well, I'm going to share one of the tips that you gave me. Hopefully you don't mind.
No,
you gave me at eBay Open. When we went to Philly, you and Tiffany and Leslie came, and the girl from New York, I cannot remember her name.
Allison.
And Leslie's parents, and we had the best time, even though we were working.
It was my first time in Philly. It was amazing weather when we were there.
Oh, and the food.
Oh yeah, they had really good food.
Yeah, the eBay Open had good food, but then we went to eat after. We had steak,
I think it was
macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. Oh, that mac and cheese, yeah.
That's good. But we were working the List Perfectly table. List Perfectly sent me. That's another thing they do for their community. They randomly pick people and send them places. Not just
people who want to do it.
Yeah, they don't like force you.
Yeah, people who just like to be involved in that sort of thing.
Yeah, they sent people to camp that couldn't afford to go, that really wanted to go. They sent people to, you know, people who are really all about List Perfectly. They sent to each of the opens that were around. They also give out these community spirit awards.
Oh, yeah, you have your award. That's amazing.
Which I've won in the past. Dawn has won one too.
Yeah, I know Dawn did. I must have missed it when you won.
But yeah, they sent me, and so I worked for my plane ticket.
It was hectic, so you definitely.
Was fun.
Yeah.
It was literally
you're
just
such a people person.
And I love to talk about List Perfectly. It's like my favorite thing.
eBay sellers, when they go and they hound you, I mean, they really want to know the nuts and bolts. Like, they're like, sell me now. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's not really my style. I'm in content.
I love to talk about List Perfectly. I mean, actually, someone asked me at FlipCon, I think they were trying to be flippant, but they said, do you ever talk about anything else? I said,
you talk about
hamsters and serial killers, maybe, but
exactly. I mean, you're doing you.
I love List Perfectly. I could never talk about it enough because, like I said earlier, I come from dinosaur time, back before List Perfectly, and I used List Perfectly when it was brand new. And compared to what it is today, holy crap! And I think back to how I used to have to do things like plug my phone into my laptop to move my pictures over. What is that?
I know.
That's like so like 2000, right?
2010.
26. But back to your tip, because we actually were weeding. Please don't ask me because Keith told me and I don't remember. But there's some set of Lord of the Rings or something cards that are going to drop. But Josh told me it opened. If you know a special series or set of cards is going to drop, and you can just Google Pokemon does special ones, Magic, and say they're going to drop tomorrow. Sometimes Target will put them out the night before because they're getting their display prepped.
Yep.
So you can go the night before and check your Target and then buy a whole bunch.
And you'll probably see the pros there too, who like know what's up. Like you'll see someone there, I promise you. But yeah, they do early stocks. You know, it's kind of hard to time it. Like I've heard of people who know employees and they can tell them like what's in the backstop. Yeah. So like I know of at least one person who knows employees who can tell them what they have in backstock and when it's coming out. So like, yeah, people take advantage in that way. I'm not saying I would do that, but like I know there's kind of
hold on to them too until they're worth.
Yes, and that's the best way. I would always tell sellers like
this is worth 30 now. We paid 20, so we're holding on to it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I know I have my no, you're fine. Like I have my Halloween Pokemon Halloween special card pack from not this year but last year, and then it was worth $12 and now it's about 30. So there is value in holding, but like, you know, that's why you gotta love it, enjoy it. Don't just get into it because you think it's easy money, because there's always a learning curve there.
Well, this hangs out in my office. I love Pikachu. He's a mouse.
He's always a good buy too. Yeah,
he's a
hamster.
He's a rodent.
Yeah, you did say that. You love
I love rodents. Yeah. So just hanging out with Pikachu until we sell it is cool. And then if you remember at Boss last year, this was what I wore, the Pokemon trainer shirt.
Oh yeah, because I remember you like told her like I wore this for you.
Yes, and I wore this at Boss, and I had little Pokemons all pinned all over me like a trainer.
Yeah.
And they were Halloween specials. There was an Eevee and a Pikachu. And I hung out with them in my office. They were on my desk for like almost 2 years. They were really cute. I just kind of checked Eevee a couple weeks ago, and she's worth 40. Pikachu's only worth like 20 because I guess he's oversaturated in Eevee. So I listed her.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
You know, I listed her. She's over behind the boxes now, hanging out with Stephen King. But you can enjoy things and sell them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just what I tell people to like make it easy. What's up,
Did you see me hold up the little hamster you made me? I was showing her off.
I was telling Star how I haven't talked to you in a minute, but I'm glad to see you here. Thank you for supporting.
We co-host a party, Dawn and I. It actually originally started because that hamster is so cute. I need to get her in a frame. I really want to take the Michael Myers back there and put it downstairs with all my other Michael stuff. I have a whole Michael wall. And I want to put the hamster back there so she's in my videos. She's so cute. And my actual real life hamster just recently passed away. I don't know if you were aware of that, Josh.
I was not aware. I'm sorry to hear that.
The day after Halloween, it was like she hung on for my favorite holiday, and then she had a couple of strokes.
Okay, so she was older.
She was not even 2. She was kind of young for him. They lived to be 2.
Okay, 2.5. Gotcha.
My last one, MC Hamster. We called her Emmy. She lived to be 3.5. Ahsoka was not 2, but she had a couple of strokes and her back legs weren't working, and I gave her a good life. And she hung on. She died on November 1st, and she was like, I think she like didn't want to ruin my favorite holiday.
That's good. Yeah.
We buried her at let me see if I can pull it up. I'll show you. I'm just now getting where I can talk about it, because at first I was like, I don't even want to tell people what happened. I'm so sad. But I know going into it, they don't live, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't do that. No way. Yeah. I think about my dog. Like he turned 8, I believe. And, they usually live for about 16 years, I think. But in the grand scheme of things, that's really not that long.
See, but to me, I don't know if that would be harder because you have that much longer to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally grateful for right now, right in this present moment with you, Star, and I'm so happy to be
Oh,
here.
I'm going to show you Ahsoka. That's her. And then Keith's grandfather made her little coffin. And this rock, after Emmy died, Keith's grandmother painted that rock. And so Emmy's under there at his grandparents' house. And so we buried Ahsoka next to her sister.
That's good.
And these butterflies, they're solar. So at night, during the day, they suck up the sun. And at night, they glow. So both of my little hams are there. I'm ready for another one, I think. I keep telling Keith, I need another rodent. I need something to love.
Well, hopefully there's something that lasts longer, maybe, or you just really love hamsters.
I just really, really think hamsters are like the cutest. But I like all rodents. Most of them don't live 2-3 years. Guinea pigs live 6, and chinchillas live 25. And chinchillas look like Pikachu.
Nice, yeah. Get a chinchilla. Look, Dawn said underwear older than most pets. You know what? I think I got a few older than 2 years.
I actually don't. Dawn knows because he was at our crafting party Wednesday night. I finally got Keith after he was sick. We went through our dresser and our closet, and we had a rule for like the shirts and pants. If you haven't worn it in 3 months or 6 months, between 3 and 6 months, and you just keep looking at it and pushing it aside to get a different t-shirt or whatever, you're not going to wear it. It's hanging in there doing nothing. So that box, so you can see all the pants sticking all the way out, that's all from our dresser. And we have another box full of shirts that we pulled out. And then we went and all the socks without mates, holes, anything like that we threw away. So we cleared everything out because we're resellers. Why do we have stuff in our closet that we're just ignoring? Like, even if I can only sell the box of t-shirts for $10 or $12 a piece.
That's on the horizon. I kind of got away from clothes just because when you're trying to like learn to sell and sell as content and stuff like that, there's a lot of intermixing with the job. But I would really love for 2024 go back into like doing some more retail arbitrage type stuff. So hopefully I utilize that Flippin' Hippos guide. Get in on the jeans because I mean that's amazing.
Keith is working on our guides as we speak.
I got a sneak peek of it. It's awesome. I need it.
Yeah, he got to see a screen share of like it's in process. It's in our Google Drive, and Keith's downstairs working on it right now. It's probably looks different than when I showed it to you. But Keith has been working on our guides so that we will have them all updated for the new year, and of course they'll be on sale. I'll give a couple away for free. We are over an hour, and I have 3 very important questions left.
Yeah, go. I'm here. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
All right. My favorite question to ask everyone that comes on this channel. What do you think or feel about people who say resellers are horrible people who steal from the poor?
To me, that's a good question. And to me, that's easily because one of the things I think when I think about what I want to do in my life to kind of do my part and make a difference, I really think about where the state of the world is and where we are headed. And I don't say this as someone who like sees myself as important. I just think I have this opportunity to kind of take a stand. And to me, I think we're headed to a place where we'll see more resellers. I think resellers are amazing people, amazing entrepreneurs. They have a lot to offer to the world, and they are doing the world a service. This is all about sustainability. In a way, we're consumers, and that's okay. But there's a sustainable way to do it, and I really feel that resellers give back, and embracing reselling and embracing more of them is going to be. I feel like, to me, it can be like a slap in the face to like stick it to the man corporations. But I think even getting corporations on our side, like you're seeing more more brands get into sustainable selling and reusing, some of their older pieces and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people might feel that takes away from the market, but I just think it's just a natural reaction to where we're headed. And I think resellers are ahead of the game on that. And I will always stick up for resellers because you are not bad people. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to get what you deserve for going and sourcing these items, putting these listings together. Like, there's value in doing these things, and you deserve to be paid for that value. And don't feel otherwise. Of course, we're going to pay attention to the market. We got people here like Star who can give us these guides and stuff like that. But yeah, to me, it's all about sustainability and cleaning up this earth and doing it, consumerism in a more healthy way, in a more sustainable way.
I like that answer.
I think about this stuff all the time. It's really kind of what I really believe in.
I think about all the clothes that still go to the landfill. Like,
go
when
look
I had
up the garbage patch in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like,
when I had consignment chats on last week, I made the comment, I think we could get collectively like 500 resellers together, and we could go out in a swarm and we could wipe out all the thrift stores in the Pittsburgh area. And next week they're still going to be sending stuff to the landfill.
Yeah. And it's even stuff that goes overseas, like good name brand stuff that we would pay hundreds of dollars here, just going to trash piles because it was overproduced. And so that's, and also we could give a whole lot more to people who are in need of this stuff, because there's no shortage of it, but yet there's always people who need it.
Yes. And I also think, I think a lot of it too is people in general can be good, but there are people who can get very salty and jealous when they see you doing something they wish they could do.
Right.
And so someone who's still miserable at a toxic job and has to drive to work and clock in and work for a boss they hate and do a job they're miserable at, see us at the thrift stores laughing and having a good old time and doing YouTube and selling on eBay and sitting at home and watching movies while we take pictures, just living the life. And I think they just get some type of way or feel some type of way that they act like assholes. There's no plainer way to say it, towards us, because we have what they don't. But bro, go clean out your closet
and sell it. Anyone can do it. And that's like the best way. Like,
anyone can do it.
I've gone down rabbit holes of just like, how can I make more money? And like, I always come across things like, drop shipping stuff and all of that. But I'm like, there's actual real attainable ways of doing a side hustle that's easy, low cost, all the things you would want. It just takes, time, effort, retaining knowledge, and then sticking to it. A lot of people who aren't successful in life have a hard time sticking to things, and that's, it takes time, patience.
You need a planner.
Yeah.
Look, I'm already creating 2024s, and I already have my live show scheduled through March. I mean, I think way ahead, but. And
I always hear, like, I feel like within a lot of companies, there's always kind of this need to get younger. But to me, I totally embrace anyone retirement age coming in and learning how to make money for yourself in the comfort of your own home. That's something I'm really proud of. I
love when I see old people who are like savvy on their phone and their computers. I'm like, that is so cool, because as much as I love them, Katie's grandparents are the kind of older people who just refuse to learn new technology, which that's not necessarily the wrong way to be, because they don't need it for their life.
Right.
But they don't even know how to turn a computer on. They don't have a cell phone. They don't, she'll call me and be like, can you do that thing on your phone and look up this restaurant for me or this address? She doesn't quite understand it. But on the other hand, like when I used to still work in the healthcare field, I took care of some 80-year-old people who would email their grandkids and snap pictures. And I was just like, I just think it's so cool. And I always tell Keith, don't let me be the old person that doesn't roll. Like, I need to stay up to date
Oh my
But
gosh.
I had a lot of stuff happen in my lifetime, guys. If you don't know, I'm 45 years old. Beautiful. I drink vampire blood. Um, but in my life, I went from beta to VHS to DVDs to streaming. We had cassette tapes, and then we had CDs, and now we have Spotify.
Right.
So
No more. I mean,
the
iPods
internet
came
wasn't around
out
till I
when
was
I was a
20.
kid, and now they're obsolete.
What
Cassette
was?
tapes were like iPods are like obsolete now, and that's something that was
Oh,
relatively new from my childhood.
yes. I loved it. I wanted one so bad, and I got one, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's obsolete.
Yeah.
I was 20 when I first got dial-up internet, and it was still like brand new. And then I also remember, this is a good story. So in my 20s, I was married to my first husband, and he was a Marine, so we lived in North Carolina. And I worked at this pizza place. I was a delivery driver. It was just something to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a franchise. And so the guy that owned the other one stole me away and made me the manager at his store, which was like a
Wow.
20-minute drive out
Mm-hmm.
on this island. It was real nice. But he had attached, y'all remember like Blockbuster? Okay, well, it was like that, but locally owned by him. So attached to his pizza place, he had a video store, VHS tapes. Okay. This is how long ago that I was, like 19 or 20. And he made me the manager at his pizza place, but then he would also use me in the video place whenever he needed someone to work there. And I remember the day he got his very first DVD in, and he was so excited. He had to pull me out of the pizza place and go through the adjoining door, and he's like, look at this thing. It cost him $50 for
Yeah.
one DVD movie. Now you can go to the bargain bin at Walmart.
I know, like $5. I remember, and Blu-rays were gonna be a huge thing for a while.
Yeah,
Even like cassette tapes, right? Those were like kind of vintage. Oh, I got these cassettes. But even now, like you can CDs are like comparable to like records and cassette tapes, and
they're
I'm like,
Frisbees.
wow, yeah.
I remember when my kids were in school, there were a couple times when they would ask parents to bring in old CDs, and they would do crafts out of them.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel very old, but
Me too.
I feel very old. I've seen a lot. I think sometimes when I think about not millennials, Gen Xers, people my age, I think we've seen the most change.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I know, and y'all are always forgotten about, I feel. People just
That's because
think
we're quiet.
boomers,
We mind our own business.
just do your job in the corner. Yeah.
Yes, we're quiet. We mind our own business. The boomers are busy telling everybody what they're doing wrong. The
Yeah.
millennials are trying to change the world. Gen Z is doing God knows what. They're
On
weird.
vacation,
No
you
offense,
know?
but
Yeah.
they're just definitely not.
No, they'll have their time for sure. And, they're more conscious of the world and the people around them. So I
Yeah,
love
but I
that.
don't
There's a lot of
understand a
hope.
word they say. Their vernacular is like, what?
Slay. Yeah.
I get slay, but they'll say like a rack is like $1,000. I just learned that one recently.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's just
can't you just say 1,000 or a grand?
no, I got a couple racks.
No, no. A rack is what you put
Vintage.
your clothes on. But yeah, I don't know. Millennials, we just kind of, not millennials. Why do I keep saying that? Because Keith's a millennial, but barely. And he acts like a boomer. He was raised by his grandparents. Like they raised him from birth, so they're basically his parents. So he's got a lot of old-fashioned fuddy-duddies. But Gen X, we mind our own business. But if you mess with us, we will mess you up because we had to stay outside and drink from hoses. And we lived through the time when every serial killer in the world was killing and kidnapping people. So don't mess with us. Just let us be quiet and mind our own business.
I would never mess with you or anyone.
Yeah, Don is 7 years older than me. He doesn't look it either. He must drink vampire blood too.
Yeah.
So guys, Don will be on next week. It's his week. We were going to do some comic books. We're going to buy comic books and grade them for you guys. I forgot to buy mine, and I have so much inventory. We're just gonna hang like Josh and I have today.
Yeah, and please come support Don. I'll definitely be there. He has a lot to say. He has a lot of knowledge, and come ready with your questions because I think y'all will get a lot out of hearing from him.
Gen X or 19. I gotta look this up.
Testing the TV.
I gotta look and see because I feel like millennials.
I feel like there's always like a transition period for like because I feel like a lot of my older cousins are kind of they're like late 30s and they very much do feel like Gen Xers to me, but I'm not sure if they quite fit that.
Well, Keith is dead. He was at 89, and I'm 78. Oh my gosh, Kmart. Remember the blue light specials?
Yeah, even just hearing the store Kmart.
They used to have a little carousel dinghy out front with 3 rides on it. Does anybody remember? Probably not Josh.
I don't remember.
It was red, and it was like a mini merry-go-round, but it only had 3 horse seats. And you put a quarter in, and they had a cafe in the back of the Kmart where you could get lunch and ices. I mean, when I would go to Kmart with my grandparents, it was a whole day. It was a whole day. All right. So we're going to get to the last 2 questions here. Mm-hmm. And before I ask them, I have to preface with saying, yet again, you guys are probably tired of hearing it, but I don't think this can be said enough. Work-life balance is so important. If all you do is work and you grind and you burn out, your mental health is going to suffer. Your physical health is going to suffer. Your spiritual health is going to suffer. And if you aren't in a good place mentally or physically, you're no good for yourself, your business, your family. But you can't sit at home and fiddle fart around and watch Netflix all day either. You have to work. You have to find that balance, and you have to learn how to do things when you don't want to do them, but force yourself to take time off if you don't want to as well. So, yes. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Kmart was a whole experience. There were rides and lunch and ices. There was a photo place. Oh my gosh. So it was exciting. It was like day out with grandma. Anyway, talking about work-life balance. Josh, what do you do to unwind?
Ooh, good question. That's hard because I feel like I think if you know me, I am a little bit of an introvert. Now I don't have a problem kind of communicating when I'm approached, but it is a little hard to get me out of my shell. So I kind of always have been a creative type of person. So I think to me, it's just unwinding. It's hard. It's hard. Like for me, I have to, because I always just want to create and think about what's to come in the future and how I can plan for that and get ahead. And sometimes it's hard to stop. But when I do make a hard stop, I think it's really just unwinding, chilling with my kid. I go for a lot of walks. And then I even do a lot of like my personal videography stuff. So that's like really important for me to kind of get stuff out that I keep inside of me that I don't maybe have time for in my regular 9-to-5 lifestyle. And then of course I play video games.
Yeah, we still need to talk about getting together to do some Pokemon.
I know, Pokemon Scarlet. I've been playing Scarlet. Yeah, so I do the Switch nowadays because
I have
just
Violet.
Easier. Yeah.
So, and I told Keith you were coming on today, and he's like, "Is that the kid?" We call you a kid. You're Keith's age. Is that the kid? Because I always thought you and Tiffany were so much younger. You guys look younger.
Well, she's younger than me.
And probably. I feel towards you like I would, like I said at the beginning, like a little brother. So they said you could pick anybody in the world to be your little brother. I'd pick you. I just love you and Tiffany so much. But he's like, "Is that the one you were going to play Pokemon with?" And I had told him when I came back from eBay Open. And he said again what he said then. He's like, "I see how it is. You won't play with me." And like I did when you first got him.
See, so I'm working for the rest of the day, right? So what am I going to do later? Literally, I hope I have time to play a video game. And then just like anyone else, I watch my shows.
I love TV
Yeah,
and
yeah,
movies
and
so much.
there's so much I like to do, and it's just there's so little time, but I love my job, it's a huge part of my lifestyle, and it is hard to find that line and step away and unwind, but like you said, like, it isn't healthy to when you forget who you the ethos of who you are, right, and what it is that makes you happy, and not worrying about money or your career or, just worried about what you wanna do in that present moment, right? So that
Even
would
if
be
it's just to take a walk for 15 minutes and
yeah, and I have to. I went from, being more labor jobs and working for 10 to 12 hours to being at home in an office, and so those walks are really important to my health for sure.
yes, and I've still gained weight even though we walk for an hour a day, and I have a treadmill for the winter.
Mhm. I wish
And
I had a treadmill.
I
Yeah,
don't like it. I feel like a hamster
yeah.
on a wheel.
I hang out in my garage a lot and work on my golf swing. So, like,
Oh,
that's, like, something I like to do.
we have a really big bedroom, like
Mhm,
way more ginormous than it needs to be. That it's big. So I put the treadmill in there,
mhm.
and then I have like a little Roku TV so I can watch.
Yeah, same,
But I
same. In
still
my
feel
garage,
like a
a
little
hamster.
hamster on her wheel.
Yeah.
I like going outside and seeing
Mhm,
the neighborhood. And there's a dog that lives up the street that I'm absolutely in love with. Her name is Audrey.
mhm.
She's a teacup Yorkie, and she wears pink skirts. Love her. She's always in like a little pink dress with like crinoline. And she's like this big, and her whole body wiggles when she sees me because she loves to get attention. So I like to see Audrey. Her mom's pretty cool too.
Mhm.
Kathy. I knew her dog's name before I knew her. And then Keith will go with me if we go outside and we can talk. And there's squirrels and chipmunks and
Mhm.
deer are always out around here. So that's to me is fun. The treadmill is
Yeah, and that's the same, and I'm not really, like I don't go out, like, I like to go out and be in nature, stuff like that, but, like, I'm not you'll never find me at, like, a bar or anything like that, not that I don't like to relax in those ways, it's just, when building things is fun to me, right? Building my lifestyle, so in a site and if I'm not doing that, if I can't do that, then I'm really just hanging with my kid.
yeah. And how old is she now?
Well, River
Babe.
is 2, he's going on 3, getting there real quick, yeah. So, it's amazing how fast time
I
goes.
know. I'm sitting
I
here going, I remember
remember
when Tiffany was pregnant.
I remember being in 8th grade, it's the first day of school in 8th grade, and I just remember being like, "Man, this year's never gonna end." And here I am.
I can't believe
So,
River's 3.
I know, I know.
Named after River Phoenix.
Yep, because that's what me and Tiff bonded on when we first started talking. I'm a huge, I told you guys my background's film, videography, but I love film. He's Joaquin was one of my favorite actors, and of course River. And I knew as a young man that if I ever had a kid, I'd name him River. So,
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah. So my last question
Mhm.
then is what are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, okay, so I got to get some work done, and then of course enjoy the weekend. So shopping, hanging with some family that's in town. Tiff's brother, he's in the military, so he's visiting for the holidays. So we're gonna get some time in there, and then Sunday is that's my sports ball day.
Your
So
sports ball day.
and typically on Sunday night I'll prep for my work week for the coming Monday. Nothing glamorous, yeah.
Hey, listen. So I'm rereading the True Blood books. I call them
Mhm,
that. They were originally called the Sookie Stackhouse novels. There's like 20, and I'm just plowing through them. And that's
mhm.
gonna be my weekend. I'm gonna read like 3 books.
Yeah,
And
yes, yeah, and I might try to read. I like to read, I don't do it often, but, like, I'm trying to finish Gary V right now, so,
uh-huh.
yeah,
I have
so,
that on
like
my shelf.
Yeah. So whatever I can make time for, I feel like I'm interested in so many different things, right? So
Yeah, you just have to prioritize because,
exactly. And that's
like,
something I really admire about you when you told me you had that time
oh, thank you.
specifically.
Well,
Yeah.
reading's my favorite, so
Mhm.
that gets priority over everything else.
Yeah.
If
See.
I'm reading a good book, I will stand at the stove while I'm cooking dinner and be reading. I'll
Mhm.
read in the car. I'll read in the line at the grocery store. I just find time to read because I would give up movies, which is saying a lot,
Yeah.
because that's like my second favorite. Um, I have a lot of interests too, and I like to do dots, but I don't like to craft as much as I like to read, so
Mhm. Right.
that's good
Exactly.
advice for everybody. Maybe
Yeah.
you need to sit down with a list and write down all the things that you wish you would or could
Mhm.
do with your free
And
time.
do what's natural, but it never like I try to do new things from time to time. So like something you wouldn't normally do. And
Yeah.
one new habit could really change your entire life like going forward. So, and
Yeah.
that's proven in a book called The Power of Habit. I highly recommend it. And what Star is talking about here is like she has the trait of someone who is a high functioning entrepreneur who can get things done. She makes time for reading and doing the things that she loves, but that also goes into her business as well. And so that's just something I wanted to highlight
Oh, thank you.
about you, Star. Yeah.
Yes, but good habits are good habits. And I talk
Mhm.
about that on this channel a lot too. It takes 30 days to build a new habit. So if you want to do something new, you almost have to remind yourself and force yourself the first 30 days, and then
Yeah.
it becomes natural.
Yeah. It's like training that hyper focus in the present moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So we make our bed first thing in the morning.
mhm.
We never used to for years. I mean, we've been doing it for maybe 10. We've known each other for like 20. So, but I remember there was a time in my life when I would have to go back in and make it, or I would just leave it and be a slob. I can't now, but it's so ingrained. When
Yeah.
my feet hit the floor, I have to make the bed
Oh my gosh.
because it's part
Tiffany
of my
makes the
routine.
bed. Yeah.
Well, we make it each our own half, like
Mhm.
together.
Yeah, I try to
Um,
do that. It's harder for me sometimes, but I know I need to start, it'll change my lifestyle for the
it
better.
will, because here's the thing: if you make your bed in the morning, first thing, you have already accomplished something today.
Yep, and
You have
that's
done a
important.
task.
Mhm.
You have crossed something off your to-do list. You've cleaned something. You have done something. First thing in the morning, you have done an accomplishment, and it makes you feel so good about the rest of
I
your day.
know. Oh my guys, if y'all just knew how much we functioned as human that is habit-based, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what you're doing that is not of your present mind. It's totally habit-based. And like that is a lot of reasons why, we end up in certain places in life. So,
And that's how bad habits start too.
yeah, of
Um,
course.
so anyway, I'm going to be reading this weekend and probably going to work half a day tomorrow. Sometimes during Q4, we do work half days on the weekends because
Mhm.
they're busier times. And we've got a lot of stuff here that I have to go through.
Mhm.
And then Sundays, we usually go to his grandparents for dinner, but we'll see how grandma feels
Yeah.
because she's been sick.
Yeah, well, see, even I have some blogs to write, so I might even just do that Saturday because I get bored, like, and I feel like I have to work. So that's like a problem for me too.
Yeah, I watch movies while I work, so it never
Mhm.
feels like we didn't do anything for Thanksgiving because everybody's
Mhm.
sick. So we worked half a day yesterday, even though it was a holiday, and I just put on Peacock has a new movie. It was not good. I do not recommend it. It's called Jeannie with Melissa McCarthy. It was terrible.
Mhm.
She's hit or miss. She really is.
Mhm.
This was a miss. This was a terrible movie, but I wanted to watch it. So, I just put movies on. I don't feel like I'm working. I listen. If you brought in 1,000 pairs of jeans and
Mhm.
2,000 plushies and locked me in a room and I had food and water and a TV, I wouldn't come out. That was all done.
Right, yeah, and that just feels natural to you. Same way with me, like, working from home and everything, like, I'm grateful to be here, so a lot of just what I do feels natural, right?
Yeah,
So it's hard to step away.
it's part of my life. And I mean,
Mhm.
we don't work straight through. So we get up, we get ready, we make the bed. We do shipping around 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
After shipping, we take a break to eat, we go for our walk. Then we come back, we do a little bit of work, we break for lunch, and we take a whole hour. and he sometimes plays his video games, sometimes I read, sometimes we just talk, whatever. I feed my birds and my chipmunks.
Yeah.
And then we work for a little bit more, and then we break. We clean something every day. We follow Fly Lady. If you've never heard of her, she's to organization and cleaning what Dave Ramsey is to your budget. She's the one that got me to make my bed every morning, shine my sink every night. She has this whole system where each week you're in a different room and you spend 15 minutes a day cleaning, and then your house is always spotless.
Yeah, that's what I do with my restroom. I have to like scrub stuff down before I take a shower now. And it's become a habit. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we clean for 15 minutes a day. Fly Lady, guys. She has an app. She has a website. And I don't follow her just like Ramsey. I take what works for me, what I like, and apply it to my life and leave the rest. You don't have to do everything.
Right. Now apply it to your reselling business.
Yeah, well, I do. I do everything on timers for 15 minutes because of this woman. I've been following her for 20 years. And I follow like the take a break every hour and all that. Yeah. So, I mean, we take breaks to eat and go for walks and clean. We usually quit around 6 o'clock, but we're not working from 8 to 6.
Right.
There's like time off.
You're on your own time, of course, but you're like, your productivity schedule, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. And at 3 o'clock every day, except for Fridays, Fridays are wonky because I have the live show and I have my true crime, and I kind of I kind of fiddle fart around a little bit on Fridays because it's Friday. But usually at 3 o'clock, we take a short 20-minute break and I get my afternoon soda and a snack. And it's funny because I'm going downstairs every day, right to 3. And Keith hears me and he's like, "What you doing?" He knows damn well what I'm doing. "What you doing?" "Getting a snack." "What kind of snack?" And I tell him what I'm eating. "You want some too?" We like cheese.
Yeah.
We're like little rats. We love string cheese and like snack cheese. Such a nerd. All right. So before we go, do you have any words of wisdom for the people?
Yeah, no, just keep on grinding, find your balance, find what works for you, develop new habits, make a list on, things that maybe you would like to improve on, make a list of things that you haven't done that you would like to do, and just keep going. There's so many people like Star in this community who are here to motivate you. And this is beyond like list perfectly. This is beyond, just do, if you're persistent, you're going to be successful, and it just takes
an idea for a video. I have to write it down.
It takes time. And I know kind of Star undersells herself, but like the amount of work she puts into getting the knowledge to be where she's at, it truly is amazing to kind of, witness it and learn from you. I feel like it's so much easier to talk even off camera about certain things. So just seeing your process and learning these new things about you, I think, just wisdom wise, just be yourself and focus on what makes you happy, focus on what works for your business. And then just take time to relax and not think about tomorrow. Just know that you're a reseller and you're going to do it. You're going to make it.
Yes. But do think about tomorrow.
Well, all right. In the sense
only as far as you need to.
You're happy with where you're at. You know?
And if you're not, then fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you're not going to enjoy what you have later, or you might not even get there if you kind of like are stuck.
Something we didn't mention, I think is important. Extra streams of income.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, guys, if I knew I was making $10K more and then I was working my part-time job and I was happy, but I had the time, the energy to feel like I can explore different things. Like that's what it's all about. Just leveling yourself up and, doing that as a reseller and even beyond, because I know there's so much more to everyone out there than, just your business. So there's so much opportunity in the world. Don't ever let like the current things happening, affect you, because there's bad and then there's amazing things out there in the world.
Yep. And I just had this conversation with a friend. I'm not going to say who it is, but their sales have tanked. A lot of our sales have tanked, and they are going to start driving for DoorDash or Uber Eats. And they said, I feel like a failure. And I said, but you're not. Like, if you're doing everything that you've always done and your reselling business used to make enough money and now it doesn't, that's not you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's
Maybe the money
company.
makes you feel like that, right?
Yeah.
But
if you have to get a side gig,
mm-hmm.
you're
shame.
paying your bills and feeding your face and your family's faces is way more important than your pride.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I feel like I have so much respect for people out in society who, work the jobs that kind of, people wouldn't consider something they would want to do, because that's how society functions. We need those people, and don't ever feel ashamed that you have to take a step back from where you're at, because sometimes taking 2 steps back is what gets us 10 steps forward. You just never know. And speaking of sales tanking, little word of wisdom, the people who aren't going to make it are the ones who give up. So, right, as long as you haven't given up, you're on track.
Yes. And don't be afraid to, if you don't cross post, because stuff that doesn't sell on eBay does sell on Mercari, and stuff that sells on Poshmark may not sell on Mercari.
Poshmark's booming. Go to Poshmark. Go to Mercari too.
My Poshmark is on fire, and believe it or not, plushies that are selling.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to get like passive streams too. Like, build up your Instagram, join the reselling community, get a couple thousand followers, and start putting Amazon links. You can become, I have a video on it, how to do it. It's super simple to sign up. You can make a couple $100 a month. You can make $50 a month, whatever you want to put into it. If you have List Perfectly, do the affiliate program. Guys, there's months where my List Perfectly makes me more money than my eBay does. And that's because they are evergreen. I call them evergreen money. So I still make money off of people I signed up in 2019.
That's amazing.
And they just give us all a raise. We all make 20% of everyone we sign up. So even if you only get a couple friends to sign up, your subscription's free then.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really, you just never know. And it's just about putting yourself out there. You don't know who's going to hit that link or use your code.
So yeah, don't be afraid to try new things, do new things, pivot, take a step back. But, this conversation I had with my friend really made me sad for them, because if you have to do something to pay your bills, it doesn't mean you failed at reselling. It just means the world's in a really weird place right now, and you don't want to live on the street.
Right. And then you're setting yourself up. If you continue, you're still setting yourself up for the next boom. And it comes in waves, guys. Like,
if we keep listening now, it's going to start selling soon. Something's got to happen. Remember, Josh is younger than me, but in 2008, there was a big recession.
Well, I remember it because I was in high school.
It didn't really affect me too much because I worked in the healthcare field, and that's like a recession-proof job. But I remember everyone around me being affected, including my.
I remember. Yeah, I know how stressful it was in our household, like even potentially losing our house and all of that. So.
And we came out of it, and the economy boomed after that.
Yeah, and when there's lows, there's higher highs, guys. Like, that's just, we all have different belief systems, but to me, that's just a natural fact of the universe. So.
Yeah. All right. I've kept you for almost 2 hours.
No, it's amazing. I would do it again if you ever want to hang out and talk.
I'll have you back on for sure. I'm scheduled out through March, so I'll contact you in March sometime for.
Sounds good. And it was such a pleasure to be on here. Thank you so much for letting me come on.
Thank you for coming on. I've been after you for a while. He was. I wanted him on so bad, but he's always busy and he's always at some event or out of town.
Yeah. No, we made it work though, and of course I would do that for you. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you coming on, Josh. I really do. And everyone that's watching now, or if you're watching the replay, thank you for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me and Josh and chat and listen to him and I chat. Hopefully you learned something. We appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. If you didn't see my Thanksgiving video yesterday, I said without you guys, there'd be no Flippin' Hippos. I'd just be sitting here talking to my wall. So I do appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. And Josh, it was a pleasure to have you. You're such a positive person. I love your outlook. It's really good. It's really nice to hear.
Thank you. And I just want to spread that to everyone, even if you maybe, thank you for those who are watching and will watch. If you vibed with me, thank you so much. And if you didn't, that's cool. Thanks for listening. Yeah.
That's Josh for you. If you don't like me, that's okay. I like you.
Oh my gosh, can't please everyone. Not in this game.
No. All right, guys, go be productive and make some money, like I always say, but it is the weekend. So make sure you take time out for yourself, your friends, your family, your pets, and do something fun. Take some time off of work.
Absolutely. See you, everyone.
Bye. Love you guys. Bye.